terms of a vision, I think I have probably a vision for the school, but also the wider vision for the profession. The school needs to move to continue to keep physiotherapy as one of the key health professions in the world. And we've looked quite closely at moving from a bachelor's degree program to a master's program, or giving people the opportunity to do an honours. But when there's other countries already establishing Doctor of Physiotherapy programs, and when one of the closest countries is Australia, it's really made us think that the right step to take will be to undertake the Doctor of Physiotherapy. And it would be more on an Australian model than on an American model. You've got to keep in mind that it's very much a graduate entry degree, and it's the first qualification for registration, so it's not a PhD in any way, shape or form, and that's going to have to be communicated to the wider community of patients that we deal with, but also to the students. But I think that students coming to university these days are prepared to get a qualification that's going to take them somewhere, and that although they will, and we haven't got the details, but although they're likely to have to do an undergraduate degree first, spending 6 years or so getting their qualification, I think will probably be all right. There will certainly be some that may be excluded, but I think ultimately it will be accepted and acceptable, and it will be the right direction for physiotherapy, because we already have autonomous practice. ACC and groups like that haven't really had a major hiccup in terms of physiotherapists being autonomous practitioners, although that was one of the questions when we first gained autonomy. And I think that we've got enough of a body of knowledge now to be confident enough to actually develop it ourselves without being dependent upon other groups or other health professions. And then that will help to grow the science as well. So I think for me the vision is to be able to establish the DPT at the University of Otago. There'll be some talking to do, but I think already, because other health professional groups are looking at it for their own needs, that it probably is not such a barrier. And I don't think that we've had a huge brick wall set up by the profession when it's been mentioned at conferences and things like that. The profession are beginning to realise that it is the way to go. So I think for me that's the vision, but also contained within that there's a very strong sense of ethics and responsibility for us to still be excellent communicators and very good with our hands. And I don't know how a physiotherapist can get through a treatment without putting their hands on a patient, but I've seen it with a student, and it's just, our hands are our asset, and it's very much how we should be communicating with patients. So I don't think that we should be dropping our professional standards. We can change our dress and all those sorts of things, but in terms of respect for the patient and understanding the environment and putting hands on and all those sorts of things, they're still very critical as far as I'm concerned in any sort of physiotherapy program. And I think we underestimate ourselves as physiotherapists sometimes. We tend to be underestimating what we can do and what we can achieve in the community, and we're always good at treating our patients and writing our notes, but there are other professions that are much better at public relations, and that irks us sometimes, but we've got to get out there and do it too. It's just, I think most physiotherapists love what they do, and so they're very happy treating their patients and don't necessarily look forward and keep the opportunities that they should be keeping. We don't want to lose massage entirely, and we don't want to lose hydrotherapy, and we don't want to lose exercise for rehabilitation, but we will if we don't feel that excited about those areas, and we don't bring the profession together to integrate the cardiopulmonary, musculoskeletal and neuro areas more. And I think some of our musculoskeletal physiotherapists have actually done damage to the profession in ignoring or pushing the other areas more under the carpet. But now suddenly people are talking about the diaphragm as being an important muscle for breathing as well as other things, and people realise that they need to look at the neurological system in more depth. So I think we are coming together again, and that will be one of our strengths. And for the wider vision in terms of the world, then obviously it is to actually allow more access by the world's population to physiotherapy services. That's one of the key things that I'm trying to push, and other members of Exec are trying to push through the WCPT, because there are many countries where physiotherapy services are not available, and there are others where there are far too few services, and the government and other bodies like medicine put restrictions on access to physiotherapy, in that it's still by referral through the doctors, and it's still with a referral which has got a prescription on it, and we're well beyond that as far as our profession is concerned. So we have to support the countries where those are issues and be able to support them in their negotiations to eventually get to that point. So that's what I hope.